The Wild West wasn't the free-for-all that Hollywood movies show us. People think cowboys could carry any weapon they wanted, but frontier towns like Dodge City and Tombstone actually had pretty strict rules against guns and other dangerous stuff. Some of the scariest weapons ever made got completely banned out there. Let's start with number 10, the Apache Knuckle Duster Revolver. This weird weapon came from France back in the 1870s. It was like a nightmare gadget that packed three things into one small package: a pinfire revolver that shot tiny 7mm rounds, brass knuckles for punching, and a folding knife blade. You could punch, stab, or shoot someone all with the same tool. It looked crazy, like something from a horror story. But honestly, it didn't work that great. The gun part was weak and not very accurate. The blade was super short, and the knuckles felt awkward because of all the other pieces sticking out. Still, city gang members liked it a lot, since it was easy to hide and gave them different ways to fight. Similar combo weapons popped up in the American West too, mostly carried by criminals who wanted any advantage they could get. Texas banned this kind of thing in 1871 as part of their big law against deadly weapons, and Oklahoma Territory did the same in 1890. Pretty much any rule against brass knuckles or hidden pistols made this weapon illegal in more than one way. It was like the secret wild card that shady folks carried around the frontier. If you're picking up cool new facts about the real Old West, make sure to subscribe to the channel. It really helps us keep digging up these true stories and sharing the actual details about guns and history that you don't hear everywhere else. Next up at number 9 is the blackjack, sometimes called a billy club. A blackjack was basically a leather pouch stuffed full of lead shot, connected to a short handle or even a springy one. One good swing to the head could knock a full-grown man unconscious or even crack his skull. They were flexible, so you could slip one into a back pocket or a boot pretty easily. That made them popular for anyone who wanted to end a fight quickly and without making much noise. Sheriffs and their deputies used them all the time to handle drunk troublemakers without having to pull out a gun. But outlaws and street muggers loved them just as much. Getting jumped in a dark alley with one of these was pretty common in cattle towns and mining camps all across the territories. Texas added blackjacks to their banned list in 1871, right along with slungshots and brass knuckles. Arizona Territory included them in their concealed weapons ban in 1889. The laws treated them almost the same as knives or small guns because they were so dangerous in close-up fights. Number 8 is the concealed pocket revolver. These were little 5-shot handguns, like the Colt .31 caliber models, made to be tiny enough to hide under a coat or inside a vest. They only cost between $15 and $25, so pretty much anyone working in a frontier town could afford one. Shopkeepers, bartenders, and people traveling on the roads all carried them for protection. The trouble was that criminals, con artists, and plenty of folks who probably shouldn't have been armed in a busy saloon on a Saturday night carried them too. These small guns became a big part of the whole debate about concealed carry across the West. Tombstone banned hidden firearms in 1881, and that rule specifically covered pocket revolvers. Dodge City did the same thing back in 1878. Tennessee took it even further in 1879 and limited the sale of small revolvers, only allowing bigger military-style ones. Courts agreed that towns could legally control how people carried weapons. Pocket revolvers were all over the place, and that's exactly why so many towns wanted them off their streets. If you're learning something new right now, go ahead and hit that like button and subscribe so you don't miss any more videos like this. At number 7, we have the sawed-off shotgun. You take a regular double-barreled shotgun and cut the barrels down to about 12 to 18 inches. That turns it into a gun that shoots a wide spray of buckshot at close range. The short barrel made it easy to hide under a long coat or even a blanket, so a normal hunting gun became something really scary. Stagecoach robbers like Black Bart used them to hold up Wells Fargo coaches because just seeing one was usually enough to make everyone give up without a fight. Lawmen like Wyatt Earp carried them too because they had serious stopping power. The U.S. government didn't officially ban short-barreled shotguns until 1934, but towns in the Wild West made their own rules. Dodge City started banning people from carrying rifles and shotguns inside city limits in 1878. Texas included them in their general rules against deadly weapons. If you got caught with one in town, you'd at least get a fine and have it taken away. Number 6 is the dirk or dagger, also known as the Arkansas toothpick. This was a long, thin, double-edged blade that was usually 8 to 12 inches long. It was built only for stabbing, nothing else. It was skinnier and meaner looking than a regular Bowie knife. Dueling was big in the South and on the frontier, so politicians and professional gamblers liked carrying these. They were cheap, only about $3 to $8, and you could easily slide one into a boot or under a jacket. Arkansas banned carrying them concealed way back in 1837, right after one state lawmaker stabbed and killed another lawmaker during an argument right on the floor of the legislature. Texas added daggers to their banned weapons list in 1871. New Mexico Territory made it illegal to carry them. In settlements starting in 1859, if you killed someone with one of these, courts in several places automatically treated it as murder instead of manslaughter and added extra punishments. Lawmakers figured these blades had no real use except for hurting people. Number 5 is the slungshot. A lot of people have never even heard of this one, which made it extra sneaky and dangerous. A slungshot was a heavy ball, usually made of lead or iron, tied up in a monkey fist knot at the end of a rope or leather strap. It weighed between 8 and 16 ounces. You could swing it to smash someone's skull, and it fit right in any pocket so no one would notice. Sailors came up with it first, and dock workers in places like San Francisco carried them all the time. Out on the frontier, outlaws used slungshots for quiet ambushes since there was no loud gunshot to draw attention. California banned them completely in 1850, which was one of the earliest weapon restrictions in the West. Texas followed with their 1871 law. Arizona and Oklahoma territories banned carrying them concealed in the 1890s. Courts saw them as having zero purpose for normal defense, so they were easy to outlaw. Number 4 is the pepperbox revolver. Before Colt revolvers became popular, the pepperbox was the go-to multi-shot gun on the frontier. It was patented by Ethan Allen in 1837 and had 4 to 6 barrels grouped together in a rotating cluster. Each barrel had to be loaded separately, and they fired 28 to 36 caliber balls. The whole thing was pretty small, only 7 to 9 inches long, and cost $10 to $15, so it was popular with settlers heading west, gold rush miners, and stagecoach guards. Even Wild Bill Hickok carried one early on before he switched to something better. The big problem was that pepper boxes were really unreliable. They often had chain fires where multiple barrels would go off at once, which could hurt or even kill the person holding it. California included them in their 1850 ban on concealed weapons. Arizona and New Mexico banned carrying small firearms in the 1880s. Dodge City covered them under the 1878 ban on hidden revolvers. Towns worried about accidental shootings from these guns almost as much as they did about people using them on purpose. Number 3 is the Derringer pistol. This tiny single or double-barreled pocket pistol might be the most well-known hidden weapon in all of American history. Henry Derringer invented it around 1825. It shot 41 caliber rimfire rounds from a barrel that was only 2 to 3 inches long. The whole gun was about 5 inches total and weighed less than a pound. It cost $5 to $10 and slipped perfectly into a vest pocket or a garter holster. John Wilkes Booth used a Derringer to assassinate President Abraham Lincoln in 1865, which made the gun famous in a bad way right away. Out west, gamblers like Doc Holliday kept one as a backup to their main revolver. Women like Calamity Jane liked them for personal protection. Towns didn't like Derringers because they were so small that you could barely find them during GA search. Tombstone banned concealed pistols in 1881 and charged fines up to $100. Kansas banned pocket pistols in cities during the 1870s. Texas specifically outlawed carrying Derringers in 1871 because they saw them as assassins' tools. Arkansas and Tennessee limited the sale of small handguns between 1879 and 1881 and only allowed bigger military-style guns. Number 2 is brass knuckles. These were 4 connected finger rings with a bar across the palm made from brass, iron, or steel. They weighed 8 to 12 ounces and turned a normal punch into something that could break bones or smash a jaw with one hit. They only cost $1 to $5, so they were the cheapest weapon on the whole list and super easy to hide. Gamblers, bouncers, and fighters around the docks all used them across the frontier. Outlaw John Wesley Hardin kept a pair with his guns. Even lawman Bat Masterson used brass knuckles to deal with rowdy drunks when he didn't want to shoot. California banned them in 1850. Texas made it illegal to carry them in 1871, with fines from $10 to $200 plus jail time. Arizona Territory banned carrying them concealed in 1889. Kansas made it illegal to sell them to kids in 1883. Courts decided they had no real military or self-defense use, which made banning them simple. An 1884 ordinance in Dodge City included them as deadly weapons. And the number one banned weapon of the Wild West was the Bowie knife. It was named after the famous Jim Bowie and made around 1830 by a blacksmith named James Black. The blade was huge, usually 9 to 15 inches long, with a clip point for stabbing, a super sharp edge for slashing, and a crossguard to protect your hand. It was made from high-carbon steel and worked great for hunting, skinning animals, and fighting. Bowie became a legend after the 1827 sandbar fight on the Mississippi River, where he killed a guy even though he was badly hurt himself. After that, everybody wanted one. They got mass-produced in Sheffield, England, and in American factories, and sold for $5 to $20. Davy Crockett even carried one at the Alamo in 1836. Alabama put a $100 tax on selling Bowie knives in 1837, which would be about $3,000 in today's money. Mississippi banned using them in duels and said any stabbing would count as murder. Arkansas outlawed carrying them concealed in 1837 after a state lawmaker named John Wilson killed another representative named J.J. Anthony with a Bowie knife right during a meeting in the legislature. Tombstone made carrying one without a permit illegal under their Ordinance No. 9 in 1881. Dodge City banned them inside city limits in 1878. Texas started treating killings with a Bowie knife as murder instead of manslaughter back in 1856, with fines up to $200 and prison time. By the 1890s, revolvers had mostly taken the place of big fighting knives on the frontier, but the Bowie knife stayed the most regulated blade in American frontier history and became a real symbol of that whole time.